All right, we're back. We're back, and it is COMP229. That's advanced web programming. I got to clap my hands to make you guys quiet down. Can you tell the guys in the corner to quiet down? There we go. COMP229, and it's fall 2016. Lots of people in the room, and it's week 2, part 1 of our broadcasts. Quiet down. I'm gonna have to ask you to go, eh? Thank you. I don't want to. I love everybody, but you know, if I can't talk, if I have to compete with you, that's a bad thing, right? All right. So what we're talking about is this ASP.NET. What I wanted to start off with actually was your assignment. So I want to make this like the assignment, and I'm also going to review what we did last week. There will not be a quiz this week, only because I want to focus on the new technologies. I'll do a quiz next week, which I'll give away to you. And so we'll spread things out just a little bit. Okay, so what is this? You guys, some of you have done this before. You've made a portfolio site. And if you're with me in COMP229, as an example, which is client-side applications, web application development, which is with JavaScript, we made a little portfolio site there. And you may have been with me with some of you with other courses. We've made a portfolio site. You can certainly use the content from that if you're with me on this. However, if you weren't, and for the majority of you, I did not have you with me, I'm going to talk about this portfolio you're going to build. So I want to give you a kind of something you can bite into to give you some practice on how to create stuff with ASP.NET. Is it going to be the most modern website with ASP.NET? Maybe not, because we're using some older technologies. But what I want you to do is learn some of the basics. For example, how to create pages with ASP.NET, how to make master pages, which we're going to be talking about today. That's really what I'm testing. So you're going to create a couple master pages, how to lay out content and that kind of thing, how to incorporate things like Bootstrap for CSS. All those things you're going to be tested on. So this thing is going to be worth 10% of your final grade. It'll be due a couple weeks out on a Friday. So let's say, for example, we get together on the Wednesday, which would be, I think, the 27th, 28th, something like that. And then the Friday, which will be the 30th at midnight, is when this thing will be due. So it'll give you like a couple of weeks and a couple of days to get this thing done, so that you won't have to struggle to find the time to get it done. Now, I know some people will want to get this done late because, you know, that's the kind of people they are. They're like, oh, I got lots of stuff going on. Who cares about Tom's little assignment? You know, that kind of thing. I know it sounds little, but there's content in place. This is about you. Right? So people hate talking about themselves. I find that too. They don't want to kind of, this is what I can do, and stuff like this, right? They don't like these things. Guys and girls, it's required for this course to do this thing. This is a required assignment. It's going to give you the first step into doing things on your own. There's going to be another one that I'm going to give you that's a group assignment in a couple of weeks, right? Where you do a couple things, a group, you're going to work with somebody, a couple of other people, or maybe one other person, where you build something a little bit bigger. But this one here is going to give you all the technology you need to pass your exam, the midterm test that we're going to have on the 7th week. If you don't know how to do this stuff, passing the midterm test will be impossible. All right? So you really need to understand this stuff, and that's why I'm giving you this practice. Please do not wait until the last minute. It would basically kill you if you did that. Right? I'm not going to kill you. It's just going to kill you. The work is going to kill you. You have no time. That's what it is, right? Let's talk about this, what you're building. So I want you to think about this as a user. A user is going to come to this page, right? And you should have it all available on eCentennial, by the way. I also put up a rubric, so you have where all the marks are coming from up on eCentennial. There's no, if you have a question of where the marks are coming from and how you're being graded, it's all up here. Point by point, you're getting you know where your marks are coming from, okay? So let's take a look at this now. Imagine I'm a user and I'm going to go to Javid's site, right? Because I want to know about him, right? Or I'm looking at one of your sites. I'm an interviewer and you're interviewing for a job. I'm going to go to your website. I want to take a look at your stuff. I want to know a little bit about you, not just the stuff that's up on LinkedIn. That's okay. You should all have a LinkedIn account, by the way. Everybody, I know some of you have joined me on LinkedIn. It's a great way of connecting with other people in order for you to, you know, at least share what you can do and so on. Is it the only thing that shares your experiences in your CV? And apologies about the technical issues. We're still trying to correct them. No, it's not the only thing that does that. But I think it's a great tool. It's another way to share who you are. take some of that stuff. Take the things about you on LinkedIn that you already have up, and you may not have a lot because you're a student. And you might say, Professor, I don't really have any services that I do. Excuse me? You don't have any services you can do? I mean, do you mean that you can't build a website? Are you telling me that you couldn't code anything? That you can't get a co-op job? That's what you're basically saying when you say, I don't have any services that I offer. Everybody here has services they can offer, right? They might be the same as the next person in the room, right? Or some of the services. And we'll talk about some examples of what you offer. But I want you to build something that talks about you. This isn't about some phantom person, all right? This isn't, you're not going to build an avatar like a little cartoon about you. It's got to be your picture on this thing. Try and make it as professional as possible, right? So that means maybe going in front of a whiteboard, having your friend take a picture of you, you know, in some, you know, to put up on, you know, on your site. But it's got to be you, right? If you don't have a picture, you know, that's going to be just a mark off, all right, that you're going to lose. The other thing I want you to do is build your own logo, right? And that might just be your name initials right now, right? So my name is Tom Siliopoulos, right? So am I going to build this, you know, my logo might be TT if I really didn't have anything in mind, right? At least something that is a logo. It's an image. It's not going to be just text, and you're not going to steal an icon from Font Awesome, okay? It's not that. We're not doing that this semester, okay? So this is something where you're going to build up your own brand, who you are, a little bit. You don't have to be so fancy. It can be something simple, right? As simple as your name, but it's got to really reflect who you are. By the way, if we do courses again together, I'm going to do this again, right? This is not the first time or the last time you're going to do this portfolio site. Why? And you're like, well, we've done this assignment, Professor. Why are we doing it again? You're not doing it again. You're refining what you can do, and you're doing it across different technologies. Think about this portfolio site as your hello world for the web. When you can do a portfolio site on the web, any web technology, you learn the back end, you learn the front end, you learn how to interaction, you know, understand about buttons, events, all that kind of stuff. That's why we do it. Not because I want you to do the same thing or I don't want to be creative. We can be creative, but we have to also be practical. And this is just a way of, you know, being practical and getting you to learn everything you need to do. And it's all about you, so you can make it as fun as you like. Here's what I don't want you to do. Please do not use any templates. Don't download templates from the internet for Bootstrap. I want this to be your own. So be as creative as you can be with your own stuff, right? Don't steal somebody else's code. Don't try to steal someone else's, you know, colors or whatever. Make your own colors. Make it so that it's your own. The more you put into this, the better it's going to be for you by the end of the course, right? Because the technology we're going to be using with this stuff, you're going to be learning how to use Visual Studio, more on the website, and it's going to help you out later on. Any questions around those comments? I'm going to talk about the assignment in a second, okay? Logo. What's your question? Well, I'll talk about that. You can decide where to put it. Some people will put it right in the middle of their page, in their landing page. Some people put it on the top left corner. Boring. Some people will put it, you know, somewhere else. We can look at some example portfolio sites, and I've done that in other courses. We'll do it again, and the best place to look for those examples is online. Like, look for a portfolio site. Does it have to be as beautiful as the portfolio sites that you see online? Absolutely not. You guys are not designers necessarily, right? But you can look at those things as examples of what you can try to do. And trying to do something that you don't know how to do and failing at it is one of the best ways of learning, right? So let's keep going. Any other questions about this stuff before we go on? So again, there's going to be about 5 pages. Actually, your portfolio site is really a template for any other simple site you can make for any other customer, right? Because every customer, pretty much, if you're going to build a brand new site for them, an example would be some kind of industrial site or a small mom and pop's small, medium-sized business, you're going to have a landing page, an about page, a contact page for sure, some kind of products, projects, a gallery of images, something like that, and some kind of services that they offer. Every single company out there offers those basic pages, no matter who they are. They just display it in different ways, all right? So I'm asking you to put these 5 pages together for yourself, about you. This is about you. So I get to know a little bit about what you can do, a little bit as well. And we can also look at strengths and weaknesses, okay? So what am I looking for your landing page? If you look at the details here, a company logo. You make this up. Company logo, this is a logo about you, right? Your landing page should include a hero image or banner. What does that mean? Like some kind of jumbotron that takes up the whole size of your page, all right? That's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking at more specifics than I have in the past with some of the stuff I've asked you to build in another course, right? some kind of banner that has a big image. Maybe it's about you. Maybe it's about you in some kind of photo shoot you want to do with your friends, right? It doesn't matter. This is all about you. Or maybe it's about you coding. Get some friend of yours to take a picture of you actually on that computer doing some coding, because this is about code. This is about you. You're trying to sell yourself here, right? So I want to have a picture about you, right? Don't give me a picture about the wilderness, right? Or about the sun shining, or about some mountaintop. It's not about a mountaintop unless you're on top of that mountain, right? If you're on top of that mountain, give me that picture. I want to have that picture because that's what I want to see. It's got to be about you, right? Hold on. And then 2 images that link to projects and services. So some kind of image, it's got to look nice. It's like almost like a image button that you click and it's going to take you to your project page, or an image button that takes you to your service page. So really there's 3 things on the page, 4 things. A logo unique to that page, right? Some kind of banner for the image, and then there's some kind of big or a couple of images that take you as links to other pages, to your projects page or your services page. Yes.
On the main page, right? You're supposed to have a picture. Does that have to be animated?
It's got to be about you. No, I don't want galleries. Please do not give me slideshows. This is about you. I want one page about you. This thing, it's got to, but it's not going to show your bio at this page. This is just your landing page. When they get there, they see an image about you. It could be you typing at the keyboard, you playing with your friends, you doing whatever, working on a project, whatever. It's about you, right? And you can be as creative as you like. You can have several montage about you, but something that doesn't look too tacky. You don't want to make it like too many colors or whatever. It's got to be something that looks nice. Take a look at other pages out there. All right? Sorry? Yes, you can put some text, but these are the minimum requirements I'm giving you. So every time I give you an assignment, the stuff you see here, minimum requirements. You can add other things, all right, to make it more interesting for yourself. All right. Any other questions about the landing page? So that's like your main page when you get there. Yes. Don't worry, we're going to get there. The navigation bar is going to be part of your master page, and your master pages are going to make your every other page have a nav bar and a footer. All right, that's what your master pages are going to do, right? So we're going to be talking about master pages today. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about. And so when I say the content just for your homepage, I'm not going to repeat what's on there from the master page. Master page is going to almost create a template or a wrapper that wraps around the content for each of your pages. All right, that's what it does. Okay, your bio page. So we talked about this being your main page being about you. Well, your bio page is more about you. Okay, it's really an about me page. So I want definitely a current image of you. No avatars. So don't give me cute images, cats or anything like that. I don't want anything like that. It's got to be about you. It's got to be your picture, right? A personal tagline and your mission statement. People have always questioned me about this. What is your mission statement? I want to be the best programmer I can be. That could be a mission statement. That's a bad one, but you could make one. It usually starts with 2. Example would be something like, I dream in code, and I want to be able to dream your code, or something like that. Some kind of log line. Think about this page as your image, as the page that's going to, represent your movie. If you can make a movie about you, right? If you can make a movie about you, then this would be the log line. All right. So that's what this thing is about. So some kind of personal tagline and mission statement. It says it should be short and snappy, summarizing what you do, right? So don't do something like a big paragraph block of text. Nobody's going to read that because no one really cares too much more to do that. We don't read anymore. We look at images in movies, right? And videos. So if it's too much text, I'm not going to read it, and nobody else will either. And it's probably going to bore the crap out of everybody. So make it a few lines just about you to summarize what you are, who you are, and what you do. And be creative. Yes.
The way it changes, does that matter?
Transitions you're talking about?
Yes.
It doesn't matter, but it's for me, anything like that, any transitions or transforms that you use in your pages are always going to help, because it makes it more interesting. If you transform or transition from one page to the other and it kind of fades in and fades out, it always helps. Okay, let's take a look. Your projects page, right? Oh wait, let's go back. We didn't finish. You interrupted me. A condensed bio section that includes highlights from your latest CV. Your resume, all right? Please do not paste your resume in this page, okay? That doesn't make any sense, right? It's almost like if you were going to choose some highlights, things that you've done before, you want to choose some highlights. For example, maybe something like, you know, and I've seen some of this before, like your skills. Like you want to highlight your skills. So for example, I've seen like bar charts where people say CSS 3 out of 5, right? I'm not really great at CSS, but I can do CSS. You know, HTML5, 5 out of 5, right? You know, those like 5 stars or you know, some kind of bar or whatever. And they talk about all their skills on this page to kind of give an idea of what you can do. You know, anything you include there though should be pretty much 4 or 5 stars. If you can only do 1 star, don't put it on that page, right? It doesn't make any sense. Why would I highlight my weakness? This is how you highlight your strengths on this page, right? That's what your services page is all about. All right, your project page. So I want you to pick 3 projects, not 2 and not 1. 3. I want 3 projects on your projects page. What are projects? It could be an assignment you did in another class, something that you're really proud of. You did a game programming class with me, or you're doing one. That could be your, you know, your first project. Maybe you're doing, you know, you did a JavaScript class, whatever, and you did a really cool thing. Your final project for the JavaScript class, you put it in there. Maybe you did something with IoT, you built something on your own. Maybe you have a hobby that you like to do that's technical. That's something that's related to your field. Put it in. What if you don't have any of that stuff? Make it up, right? I hate to say that, but at least you have some kind of idea of a project or something you want to do, maybe a project that you're interested in doing. Something that you're doing in terms of learning or training or whatever. Make it as a project. So you're going to have 3 images. They're going to represent your current projects and or assignments. That's what I put it up here. Things you want to show off to a potential interviewer. That's what you want to do, right? Don't put something on there that's ugly, all right, that you don't want to show off. If you don't want to talk to your interviewer about that, please don't put it on here, because the interviewer is going, so Javid, what's this ugly thing you got over here? And you're like, oh yeah, well my teacher told me to put a project and I didn't know anything, so I just put it on, right? That'd be very bad, right? So if it's like that for you, it's going to be like that for me. I'm going to look at it going, why is this on here, right? When the user clicks on the project image, it's going to take you to two possible places. Either GitHub to show me your code. Here's my code on GitHub, right? Or if it's not on GitHub, if it's not that kind of project, maybe it's you've done some work for a client. You built a website or something. Take me to that website. Show me what you've done for that client, right? Maybe you did a co-op and you did something really cool on the co-op. Show me what you've done on that co-op. You know, talk about that project as if you can, right? Some people can't because it's they've got this non-disclosure agreement or something. It's okay. Your services page. Talk about what you can do and think about things like web design and development. Maybe you do video or copywriting or branding. Maybe you can do other things. What is it that you can do that you want to get hired for? Why are you here anyway? Right? These are the things you should be putting on there. Things that you can do, right? And you want to put in as little words as possible. Don't give me paragraphs of stuff that you can do, all right? It's not about that. It's like, what service do I offer? I can do websites, right? I can build mobile applications, you know, whatever you like to do, right? I can make, you know, I can use the Internet of Things, Arduino projects to build, you know, some kind of home automation products. I don't know. I'm just making this up. You know, something that you know how to do. There should be at least a few things you know how to do. Put them here. Right, this is your services page. Notice that your bio page and your services page should be kind of related, right? Your bio page is about you, highlighting you about, you know, some really cool things about you, maybe things that you achieved at your job. Maybe you got an award or some kind of, you know, something that you did. Maybe you were on the dean's list, you know, as an example, because you're a straight A student, right? You got a high GPA or whatever. Put that on there. Those kind of things that you want to highlight to your potential employer. Your contact me page should have a few things. One is a contact info section about you. Please don't make a fake address. This is a real thing. This is like, think about this as an online resume, right? So the stuff that you would put on your resume, you're going to put on this thing, right? So your contact phone number, if you're not comfortable putting it on, right? I mean, it's up to you, but if you have it up, if you're up on LinkedIn, right, as an example, you've got your contact information up there anyway. I can probably find it if I really want to, right? If you don't want your home address, that's okay, right? You don't have to, but you can put on, if you're nervous about privacy, right? You can certainly use Centennial College, right? So please, I want a phone number and an address in there, but it doesn't have to be your own. And I understand that people had said, I don't really want to put my address or my phone number or my email address. That's okay. I would accept some kind of information in there that's not your own, only for this, in this case, because of privacy, because you're going to put this up online somewhere, right? However, I recommend that you put in as much information as you feel comfortable doing, because in an interview, they're going to go, so whose address is this? Is it your address? Do you live there? Right? And also at the bottom, there's going to be another section for your keep connected section. Everybody nowadays has some kind of social media they use. Instagram is a big one nowadays, probably more popular than Facebook, right? Clean it up. Clean up your Facebook, clean up your Instagram, take out those pictures of you drinking and partying, all right? If you're going to share it, don't, you know, and it has those kind of pictures, don't share it, all right? I don't want to see pictures of you drinking and partying. It should be stuff like, here's my LinkedIn link, here's my YouTube, I made some videos, here's some stuff that I've done on GitHub. Those are good links, right? Link, you know, those are kind of clean links, right? But if you give me Facebook and you're drinking and Instagram and you're partying, they're nice times to have, but maybe you don't want to share those in some kind of business related site. I don't recommend that, right? But if you've done logos on other sites, if you've made games and you've done stuff on Twitch, anything like that, you want to share depending on the kind of job that you want. All right, so that's your keep connected section. Notice that they're not worth a lot of marks, eh? So don't spend a lot of money, a lot of time here, because time is money, right? And what I mean by that is, the more time you spend on doing this stuff, and you don't need to. If you don't have these things, like don't sign up for Facebook and Instagram if you don't have them, right? I'm not saying to you, I'm not forcing you to sign up for them, but you should have LinkedIn, right? For sure, 100%. And you probably should have something like a YouTube and GitHub. GitHub and LinkedIn for sure, right? And maybe one other, all right? I'm just saying, right? Yes. Very little. Mostly it's going to be C#. We're going to be doing mostly, all right? And we're going to talk about this. We're going to do we're going to use JavaScript for validation and jQuery for validation, but mostly we're going to be using C# on the back end, right? All right. So that's your 5 pages. So your 5 pages I've just detailed for you. These are all the pages you need to create, right? Your portfolio site will use this master page, right? This master page information, which is almost like a template to give you the same look and feel for each of your sites. But I want you to use 2. One for your contact page, and 1 for every other page, right? At the minimum. You can use more than 1 if you really want to. And we'll talk about what a master page is today, right? Remember, this isn't like, this thing isn't due next week. This is due a couple weeks out, right? But it's going to be the basis for me to talk about stuff with ASP.NET with you guys, right? Okay. We placed, you know, in your assets, your site files placed in your assets, content, and scripts folders. So you have to have those folders. So JavaScript, CSS, and multimedia files, they should be placed in scripts, content, and assets, as an example, right? Also, I recommend using Twitter Bootstrap because this is not a CSS course, right? You guys have done CSS already in other courses, maybe your first course, HTML5 and CSS, and JavaScript kind of did a bit of that in your first course, but this isn't that kind of course. This is learning ASP.NET technologies, so it's okay to use Bootstrap and Font Awesome for your icons, okay? I don't want you to use a template, though. Please don't go up online and find a template for Bootstrap that basically is a portfolio template. That will not do. If I see that kind of stuff, 0, right? I'm just letting you know, this course won't allow, right? Because you need to know how to use ASP.NET. Also, please don't hand stuff in that doesn't use ASP.NET. Don't give me PHP or Python on the back end, or Java on the back end, or any other kind of back end technology, like Node.js. It's not a Node.js course. It's an ASP.NET course, which means you need to use the Microsoft solution stack, right? Internet Information Services, right? You're going to have to do that. It could be Azure as your platform, or the school site. The school site, it's got to be live. And then, of course, if you're going to be using a database, it's probably going to be SQL Server, right? When we get there, and that kind of thing. So Microsoft solution stack. No other solution stacks allowed. Internal documentation. There's some minimal internal documentation I want you to put in. For example, you have to put, I want you to stamp your name, your author's name, the file name, the author's name, your student ID, and the creation date on every one of your files. There's a reason for that, everywhere you can. So for example, in your C# code, your JavaScript, your CSS, it's all going to have your name all over it. Okay? That's what I want you to do. It's required. And section headers for things like your JavaScript functions, if you're going to use any, and your C# methods, which we're definitely going to have, and inline comments for anything that you're doing special. Also, keep in mind that I want you to use contextual variable names, so don't use X's and I's and Y's. Right? I've already said this every single time we do an assignment together, but I'm specifying so you don't think that an X or a Y is okay unless you're doing coordinates, you know, that kind of thing, right? Share your files on GitHub. That's required. It's worth 4 marks. And cloud hosting, or I have to say, because people are having problems with Azure, if you host it online on the school site, so that's sendcall or student.sendcall.ca or whatever it is, that's okay. We can come to me if you don't have access to the student site. I'll get you access. I'll give you a hint of what you can do. You have to go to IT for that to get access to the student site here at Centennial. However, if you do get your Azure working, if you work on it and get your Azure working, I'll give you 4 bonus marks for this assignment only, right? After this assignment, there's no more bonus for using Azure, but I want everyone to use Azure, but we're having some technical issues. So for those people who can figure them out, I'm going to give you 4 bonus marks, all right, for this one. If you've already figured it out, you got 4 bonus marks and you haven't done anything yet, right? Which is fantastic. So if you came from another site with me and you already have Azure, you're ahead, right? Also, notice that I also said that your contact form doesn't have to work. So for example, if someone enters stuff in and says, you know, they actually put information into your contact form, because you're going to ask them for if they want to send you a message directly, it doesn't work. But if you make it work, or if, for example, if you use SendGrid, that's part of Azure, or use ASP.NET to make your, on the back end to make your email work, I'll give you 4 bonus marks for that as well. Like I'm talking about your form, for the form to work, to send out an email saying, thank you very much for your email, and for it to send an email to you when somebody subscribes to you or sends you a message. Then I will give you 4 bonus marks for that. How do you submit your work? I need a zip archive of your website's project files up on eCentennial. It's required. A link to your GitHub and a link to your live portfolio site hosted on the school server or on Microsoft Azure as a bonus, right? One of the two. It's got to be live. If it's not live, you're going to lose 4 marks. So the 4 bonus marks you would have got from Azure, not only are you going to lose those, but you're going to lose another 4 marks. So it means if you have Azure and you don't give me your link, even if you have the link, you're going to lose potentially 8 marks, which is crazy, right? So please don't do that. Please host it on GitHub. Some people just put it up there at the bare minimum. They just go, I don't know how to use GitHub, Tom, so I'm just going to put it up there at the last minute. That is wrong. Please work with GitHub from the very first moment you start your site. Put it up on GitHub, create a repo. This is why I made you do the lab last week in the first place. That's due tonight, by the way, right? So it's required to get your stuff to use GitHub, to use Git as a revision control system. So work with GitHub every step of the way, right? So as you create stuff with GitHub, you put things up, and any changes you make, additions, new features you add in, we're going to be talking more about that this semester. I want you to put it up on GitHub. Okay, and that's it. This rubric that you see here, and it's a very simple one, is up on eCentennial. So when I create the assignment, the rubric's up there as well. Questions about this thing? Yes. Okay, sorry, more than 3 projects? Yes. Remember, the stuff that's up here, if you want to use anything more than what I've asked you to do, it's totally fine. For example, I've asked you for 5 pages, but if you feel you want to add in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages, it's up to you. But it's going to take you a lot longer, right? I mean, remember, you get 2 weeks, and this is not the only assignment that you have in your pipe right now, right? You got lots of stuff going on, right? We'll talk about the NuGet package in a second. Yes. In other words, use variable names that make sense. Don't just use X's and Y's or I's and J's, as an example. Make sure it says, if you're making we'll talk about variable naming as we go as well. It has to make sense. They have to be contextual, all right? Anyone else have any questions related to the assignment? Okay, I know I went crazy with this thing and I went into details, but there's a reason for this madness, right? I went into details for the assignment because traditionally, and I've done this thing, see if I can set up. Traditionally, I've done this thing multiple times. I've done this assignment across different projects, across different courses, and I always get crappy assignments. This is sometimes I get the worst assignment as your first one, right? Like a really bad assignment. Like it's like you gave me something and it's completely empty, right? I'm telling you right now, guys and girls, there are some content marks related to this assignment. Like for example, about you. You're going to be creating the content here because this is your website, right? So you hand me schlock, you're going to get a schlockish mark. I'm just telling you, right? Please don't give me your stuff. If you're not happy with this project that you're doing because it's about you, that means you really don't care about marketing yourself, which is crazy, right? And remember, even if you make something that's more advanced later on, let's say, for example, you take emerging technologies in the next course later on, right? COMP229, which is a great course, by the way. And you should all take it if you can, COMP229. Not because I do it, not because Ilya does it, but because it includes things like Node.js on the back end with full JavaScript on the front end. It explores new technologies like AngularJS and those kind of more modern frameworks, that kind of stuff. And we might have to ask you to do a portfolio there too. Well, guess what? You have all the content right here. So you're halfway done, right? If you're going to do a portfolio site again, it's okay if you use it again because you're going to build it again with a new technology. If you spend some time now, a little bit of pain now, marketing yourself, later on it's going to pay off, right? Please don't give me crap. I'd be very upset, right? And this is not an assignment you can combine with somebody else because you and somebody else are totally different people, right? This is about you, right? So I don't want to see stuff like, if I see the same colors and theme from one person to the other, I'm going to be like, okay, both 0, right? It's got to be about you. This has got to be you, right? So what about being creative? What if you can't be creative? I'm not a creative person, Tom, and I don't know what to put in, and I don't know how to make a logo. If you don't know how to put like 2 initials on a logo and put it on your page somehow, I don't know how I can make it easier for you, but it's really that simple, right? At minimum, you should put in a couple of things to make your logo. Hey, even go as far as taking your initials and putting them upside down and backwards. I don't know. Make it so that it looks like a few lines on the page that is representing you. But I'm going to ask you to use this logo for every assignment and project in this course. It's got to be the same logo. And what if you're working with somebody else? What if, for example, me and Javid were working together on a project, and I got my logo and he's got his logo, right? And maybe I'm working with you. What's your name? Bahut? Okay, I'm working with you. Our 3 logos are going to be on my internal document or external documentation. Like almost like you're looking at a company that there's 3 people working on it. These 3 people have come together, and the logos are going to be on there for us together, right? So think about your logo as your signet ring, right? Your marker. This thing that represents you, right? So it's really, really important you get it done, even though it's only worth 1 mark, right? I'm still paying you for it. Any other questions around the assignment? Assignment number 1, which is due 2 weeks from now in a bit, September 30th at midnight. Yes. I won't recommend any animation on the site at all. Please don't make crazy animations or flashing stuff. That goes back to the 80s, okay? So I don't want that. Transitions is okay, but again, keep them low. Don't make it so that it's so overt. I don't want to see, your page shouldn't be about transitions and flash. It should be about a simple page about you. So let's talk about a page. Just give some examples of pages that are successful, right? Now, again, I've seen that yet. If you guys haven't seen the awards site, I highly recommend you go out there. Is it the only site for these things? Absolutely not. But let's say, for example, we go to type in awards. So AWWW, 3 W's, and we type in awards. The awards website, it kind of looks at some winning websites out there. We have some web developers and designers that kind of look at a few things like design, usability, creativity, and content. If you search for something like portfolio up here, right, as an example, so portfolio, right? There's always new portfolios that are out there, right, about you, right? Sometimes it's about a company portfolio. But, oh, by the way, you can't use WordPress either. See how we're pressing? No WordPress, right? So you can't use a content management system for yourself. That's not what it's about. But here's an example of a portfolio, right? I know it's crazy, but I mean, let's take a look at this. We'll just look at his portfolio site. Now he's been rated about 6s and 7s from these guys. Now they're very succinct raters. They kind of look at all these things, very organic in the way they rate things. Here's an example of what this guy's put together. He's a nominee for some awards, right? He's a UI UX designer and front end developer. There you go. You can see what he does, right? This guy, right? So I want you to look at this. There's some great examples online of things that you can do that are very, very simple. Notice that he has his links way up here. Here's about me, right? And he's being creative. If you notice, it says scroll down. And if you scroll down, you've got this parallax scrolling idea, that allows you to do that. Do I need you to do this kind of stuff? No. Should your pages be responsive so it can fit on devices? Absolutely. And we're going to do that together with Bootstrap if you don't know how to do that already, right? So don't worry about if it can't work for you. He's got some interesting animations that he's put into place on a canvas. He probably used something like when it comes to you know, this animation. You could have used something like Create.js as an example to make that animation, or something else, some other technology. Right? Here's all his projects over here on the right. Right? So he's done a couple things. If you hover over, so it's interesting. He's not even letting you click, and it's switching when he hovers, which means there's all these things, these images and everything. They're actually already on the page, but hidden. And all he's doing is showing the images as you hover. Right? Hey, do I expect all this functionality? Hell no. Right? But the idea here is that, no, I'm telling you, I don't expect it, but I think this is a great example of looking at it and going, okay, look what this guy did. What can I do with the stuff that I know how to do? Right? It's okay if you don't know how to do any of this stuff, but you should choose one or two things that you like, that you think you can do, and include it in your page, right? Include it on your site, right? And make it interesting. I mean, make it so it reflects you. Sometimes the most boring pages are the ones that have the nav bar at the top with all your links. That's the most boring page, but it does fit the requirements, right? At the minimum, fit the requirements. Make sure that it looks nice, but satisfies my requirements. This satisfies my requirements in many ways, right? Like, you know, all his links are almost here. I didn't give him the project, right? This, you know, his assignment, but like I said, typically like 5 pages, we have them all, right? Hey, where's his contact page? It's probably going to be this one, right? You know, some kind of way of contacting him, right? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, you know? Here's his services page. His idea of this role, UI, UX designer, and front-end developer, right? As an example. So again, this is just one page. We'll take a look at one more and then we'll stop, right? So let's go back out to portfolio. And again, I want a portfolio about, here's another one, another UI, UX designer, right? Now, there's no picture of her, but it's interesting. Or if it's her, she's got an animation, a bit of animation about her. There she is, right? And she talks about herself a little bit and talks about what she's done. To me, it's a little bit heavy in terms of paragraph for what I want, right? But this is kind of neat. She's going to make it like, you know, it looks like snow from a TV, right? So that's kind of the idea that she's got put into place. Again, a sidebar instead of a top nav bar, but it doesn't have to be this way. She's just trying to be creative again. Again, sometimes being simple is better, right? I mean, you want to be able to, from a user experience perspective, you want your users to be able to find your stuff. The other thing is, we haven't checked before, is it's got to be responsive. So notice when I change the size of my page, I have this little hamburger that comes down that allows me to pick you know, the sites or the links on her page. And if I expand it, once I go beyond this breakpoint from here to here, I can have a more you know, organic you know, desktop site, right? As I scroll down, this is very common, this idea of you know, continuous scroll. And I really like this idea of she's can kind of continue this desktop snow idea. So both on her links and in her design. So a little bit different. I think there are some definite problems with this site if I was going to look at from a usability perspective, but that's just me. I think she's been creative here. Can you do all this stuff? Because this is really her name, right? And a funky logo the way she made this. If anything, this is her logo. If you think about it, this thing, right? Anna. And she just kind of made the letters overlap. I'm seeing that. I don't know if you guys saw that, but and it's a bit of contact information right here with LinkedIn and Behance and some other stuff that you can look down as well. So some of this stuff that basically covers not all the things that I've asked for you guys, but definitely some of the things that are covered here, right? Take a look at this site, Awards, and look online on Google. There might be tons of examples of things that you can pull together here. This is, remember, again, the name of this course is Advanced Web Application Development, right? Which we use advanced technology with Microsoft, but it doesn't mean that you can't be creative, right? Some people are like, well, Microsoft Visual Studio and ASP.NET, that's pretty boring stuff. I can't be creative with that, Tom. Yeah, you can. You can be as creative as you want to be, right? But again, try not to use templates, because I won't accept them. Questions about the awards site and other things you can do. Do I need you to be as creative as this? No, I don't. Try and see some things that inspire you. Sometimes we get inspiration from looking at other people's work, right? Because we can kind of get an idea if we don't have ideas of our own, especially when we're beginning, we're students, and we want to get kind of ideas. And in fact, if I'm going to build out a person's website, let's say, for example, and I've done this before, you and I are building a restaurant site. And one of the things we're going to do in this course later on is we're going to build a restaurant site, right, for the second half of this course. That's another thing we're going to build, right? If I'm building a restaurant site for you, right, as an example, I'm going to look at other restaurant sites that serve the same kind of food and have the same kind of stuff, right? Because I want to know what my competition is like. Not because I want to copy from them necessarily, but because I want to take a look at that and go, hey, let me take a look at a restaurant site that I want to see what a restaurant site has. Did I miss anything, right? I might miss something. And then take a look at what the client wants. The client will tell you what they want. They want a menu, chances are. They want to basically show what their location is, a really quick way to contact them. And do they offer things like takeout or pickup or takeout, that kind of stuff? Can you order things online with a restaurant? I will. By the way, at the end of this course, we will create almost like this, the ability for us to use e-commerce to order from a restaurant, if you're going to pick the restaurant site for that, or sell a product. You're going to sell a product online with your with this course. You're going to make your fantasy restaurant. I'm just going to put it out there to you, right? The second thing you're going to do, not now, but the second project you're going to do, which is with the partner, is you're going to build your fantasy sports league or whatever, or some kind of games that you're going to. Let's say, for example, you're crazy about World of Warcraft, and or some kind of crazy game, or you love sports, you love soccer, or you love cricket, or you love some kind of other sport. I want you to be able to track your sports, 4 sports on a single page. We're going to be talking about that. And if you're not crazy about sports, you can track anything else, any other kind of games that you want to track. They track the Olympic Games on the other course that I did, right? Yeah. Games. It's got to be games, right? It's going to be tournaments, some kind of tournament or game we're going to talk about, right? So if you don't like that, then you're going to have to work with a partner. Maybe they know something that they want to track. You kind of work with them, okay? So that's going to be a second. So really, you're building 4 apps by the end of this course, really, at the end of the day, right? Your portfolio site, a game site that we're going to give you, a game tracker that we're going to build for your project, a restaurant site that you're going to build with MVC, and the last one, which is going to be your e-commerce website that you're going to build for the end, and all with really cool technologies, because Microsoft ASP.NET MVC is more modern than when web forms. Yeah.
What about labs?
Lots of labs. 5 labs at least, right? You want me to give you more labs, more work to do? All right, I will. Any questions about the stuff that we're talking about here? All the stuff you're going to get, every assignment is going to be this detailed. All right, so you're going to get assignments that require stuff. This course is not like JavaScript. It's not a beginning course. All right, you're here because you've already got HTML5 and CSS3 and a little bit of JavaScript already. Everyone took JavaScript in the class? Okay, is there anyone that didn't? How about this? Anyone did not take JavaScript in the class, right? Or has never touched JavaScript? Good. So you have JavaScript, you have HTML5 and CSS3. You have those kind of basic technologies. Now we're looking at a framework. We're looking at a solution stack, and this is the first solution stack, pretty much. I think you might also get PHP at some point as well. Are you guys doing PHP again, or did you guys do it last semester?
Yeah, next course we go to Linux course we got a PHP.
Okay, so you did a little bit of PHP with Linux, but PHP again is a kind of technology that's going down slowly. There's a lot of it out there, but it's good to understand PHP as well, right? So any other questions around this stuff? I'm going to pause this one. This is just, I just wanted to spend all the time on this first part for your assignment number 1, just so that you know how important it is. I'm spending time talking about it because it's that important. If you get this first one done, it'll kind of flow with you with Visual Studio and Microsoft technologies and all the other stuff. A lot of things are related, and if you've done Windows forms, then web forms shouldn't be that difficult. So I'm going to take a short break right now. Let's take 10 or 15, and when we come back, we're going to get right into the technology piece. Okay?